one should have more than 6 direct reports. And this is from the Ultimate Sales Machine. Okay?
No one should have more than 6 direct reports.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor George would disagree with you. He has 12. Jesus would disagree with you. He had 12.
Let's argue about it on this.
Let's do it.
It's going to
Hello and welcome to another incredible episode of Adventures in Entrepreneurship. I'm your host Jared, this is Captain Clay, and we're here to help you navigate the tricky waters of entrepreneurship. Today we are talking about time management, something we could all hear more about. I know I could hear more about. Clay, what do you have for us?
Here's the deal. We have a little controversy this morning, but there's a book here called The Ultimate Sales Machine. Now, I'm going to say this. I believe you have to judge when anybody says something based on the fruits. Judge the tree based on the fruits. So what I'm saying is, this guy, Chet Holmes, look him up, do a little Google on him, but he has a belief system that you should have no more than 6 reports. And I'm going to give you 2 examples to state my case. He's going to give you a difference, but the point is, don't have 75.
Right.
Here's a scoop. Steve Jobs was a very prolific and very successful in a lot of ways, but he was a weird dude, okay? He wore the same clothes who does that? He wears the same kind of clothes every day. I relate to that, but he also ate the same food every day. I relate to that too. But he only wanted to talk to 6 people at a time, ever. There's only 6 people that would ever get his attention. So he literally would not respond to emails or voicemails or anything by more than 6 people at a time. And his reason was because he believed it required extreme focus to accomplish anything. He was also known as a prolific idiot, and people didn't like him. So I'm not talking about in life, I'm just talking about at work. Okay, so I'm talking about when you leave work, different rules apply. I'm saying at work. What Chet Holmes is saying is you should only have 6 direct reports. 6 people that report to you because you expect them to have 3 people that report to them, and it's kind of a military style. And so I'll just tell you how I organize my time, and you guys can see how it relates to you. But in your business, most small business owners, they start where it's them, and then it's them and a dude, and then them and the dude and the lady and the cousin they know, and then it grows, and pretty soon they've got 75 people that all want to talk to them all the time. And it starts to break down communication, you start to become a bureaucracy, and you start to operate slowly in a business that wants to operate at quick speed. So what I do is I have 6 people that do stuff. I make a to-do list with everyone's name on it. So Connor, handles anything I need to do that involves me spending money, leaving the office, or doing anything that I really just don't want to do. So like going to Best Buy, I'm not going to do it. Going to get my oil change, not going to do it. Going to go to the bank, not going to do that. I'm going to check my voicemails, really not going to do that either. I'm not going to do, I don't check mail. I just don't do any of those things because it takes like 2 hours a day to do that stuff. That's what Connor does. And Connor's awesome. It's a super valuable job he does. And it's kind of a mentorship for him. He's learning skills as he goes, and then he'll go from there and move on to another position. Next guy is Dan. Dan handles production, all the logistics. How many speakers do we need? How many speakers do we have? How many cameras do we need? How many cameras do we have? Who's calling in sick? Who's bogus? Who's real? He handles the scheduling and the logistics of equipment and people. Then there's Matt. Matt's job is to hire and fire. He looks for trends. Is this guy nice? Is this guy bad? Does he complain? Is he excited? Is this a good person? Should he move over here? Where's he best used? He's looking for getting the right people on the bus. Then there's Jason. Jason handles basically problems. He's a solution finder. If there's a technology problem, if there's a phone problem, if there's a human problem, he just finds solutions. It's phenomenal. Then there's Marquise. He runs the daily operations of the bakery, and he basically runs and oversees everything needed for the bakery. And then beyond that, there's my dad. He does accounting, and he handles all the accounting. So I really don't think about accounting. I don't think about maintenance of gear. I don't think about I just think about those 6 people making sure that they have a big to-do list at all times. And that's what keeps me sane. And I'm just going to encourage you that if you're at 10 right now or 15, you've got to get that back. You got to get it into a smaller number. But this guy right here has been mentored by or has worked alongside somebody who believes in a little different number, but we can all agree that the number should not be limitless. You need to have a manageable number of direct reports, and it needs to be clearly established that only they can reach you. But let's go to you. Let's hear about your time management delegation system.
I 100% agree with what you're saying, and that if you have the limitless, just anybody can come talk to you. You have just capped how big your business will get. You cannot get any bigger than that. But I would say with Pastor George, last I checked and last I had heard, he has, Pastor Willie George, pastor of Church on the Move, he has 12 direct reports, 12 department heads.
How big is Church on the Move?
Church on the Move is in terms of how many people come there.
How many humanoids go there?
Somewhere in between 15 and 20,000 a weekend.
Just to give you an idea, if you're watching this, you have no idea what Church of the Moves. Just go
Right.
context. 15 to 20,000 people. Back to you.
Right, and he has 12 people that report to him. He meets with them on a weekly basis, and then I believe he's got a few then that are a little bit closer and that he meets with, and then there's another guy that you may have heard of, you may not have. His name is Jesus. He in the Bible had 12 direct reports, the 12 disciples, and so many people view this as just a story, but Jesus ran a very good business. In fact, he had set up such a great business model. It's still going on today and is still growing. He had 12 direct reports, and then within that 12, he had 3 that were like kind of the inner circle, and
Okay.
then beyond that, he had 1 that that was the main dude.
Are you saying that Jesus' time management strategy was better than Steve Jobs?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so I just want to make
Well,
sure.
because not everybody liked Jesus, but to this day, I think a lot more like Jesus than like Steve Jobs, and I would assume that Jesus is in a better place than Steve Jobs.
He just throws that in.
I'm just saying, I'm sorry for Steve Jobs, but
Ah.
he made some really bad decisions, so.
Okay, well here's the deal. Here's the question though.
Mhm.
Is then if you have these direct reports, what are they going to do? I mean, they're waiting on you for orders. Here's what you have to do, guys. You have to think of the big plan
Mhm.
and then make sure that all 6 or 12 of those people have their to-do list fully mapped out.
And I think this is a problem that a lot of entrepreneurs in particular run into.
Yeah.
Is they get so caught up in typically speaking, we are the type A, we're the doer personality, and it's just easier if I do it myself.
Amen.
I will get it done the right way.
That's blasphemy.
Exactly. And that is one thing, because if you actually read Steve Jobs' book, which I'm not all the way through, but you'll find out that he never created anything. He didn't ever invent anything. He had some really amazing ideas, and I'm not negating that whatsoever. He didn't create anything. Steve Wozniak was the guy that created the actual computer.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with that. He just had the ideas of what he wanted to happen, and then had a great team around him.
I think it'd be arguable that he came up with the idea,
Oh,
but he
absolutely.
did not tangibly build the product.
Right. But the problem is that too many entrepreneurs have the idea and then feel as though they're the one that has to create it, or it won't be what they want. Whereas Steve Jobs just had this undeniable, uncontrollable, there was a certain level that he wanted and would not take anything less.
Here's a little punch in the groin, a little thought for you. Walt Disney, we associate that name with animation.
Mhm.
He realized that his character that he drew, his original character, wasn't that good. So he ended up turning into Mickey Mouse, and he struggled for a long time. And basically what he found is that, hey, I'm a decent cartoonist, but other people are better. But they're not as good as coming up with the big idea. So Walt Disney didn't actually animate a lot of the movies.
Mhm.
And I'd say a lot, I mean all the movies. He didn't do it. What he did is he orchestrated. So he had to find creative people to come up with the vision that he, to make his vision happen. So his job was basically come up with big visions. Cinderella, okay, that's a cool idea. Pinocchio, cool idea. Now how are we going to orchestrate it? So I would even say in the creative realm this is possible. But if you're a creative business, if it's a production company, if it's a management company, whatever you have, you need to be thinking about your job is to have the big vision and then to make sure that you see it through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so crucial, especially for entrepreneurs, is that we are always of the mindset that we have the idea, therefore we have to walk it out. You have to get rid of this. And at first, I'm sure in the DJ business, you did the majority of everything on the front end.
Yeah.
But now you're releasing a lot more to other people, to Dan, to Jason, and I've had the privilege of seeing this in action and seeing you not as involved with the equipment now, that other people are taking care of that. And you're the big picture, making sure you're the driving force behind it.
And let's give some real stuff here for you. Like sometimes you have as an entrepreneur, Jack Welch calls it a deep dive, where you have to hop in and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like Jesus, delegated, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's sometimes he gave the sermons.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he hopped in and did it himself. And you have to pick those spots, So I would just encourage you delegate, but you want to pick your spots.
Mm-hmm.
And so many entrepreneurs do it either way. They delegate and they completely have no accountability for what they're doing and they don't even follow up and their business just falls apart. Or they're so hands-on. You got to find that balance. You got to find that healthy balance. And I just encourage you to find that list if you can. Make a list of the 6 people that your 6 direct reports if you're in a smaller business, 12 if you're in a bigger organization. Make the list of those direct reports, and each week before you come to work with a plan. and make sure that you execute that plan. And you'll have a lot of success, and I promise you'll have a great year if you implement these things.
And with that, and this may be a topic for another
Yeah.
episode, but talking about the delegation there, when you've got those 6 reports or the 12 reports or however your company's structured, you can't just give somebody something to do without direction and follow up like Clay was saying, because delegation without direction is just dumping. And and you can't, it is your fault that that project will fail because you are the one that did not give the direction to make that happen. And you can't be upset at that person for not telling them how to do it. Yes, you need competent people that can take the ball and run with it, but it is your job to cast the vision and make sure they know how to do it and what to do with the project that you've given them so that it can have the end result that you want. Otherwise, it is your fault that has just failed. Maybe we need to talk about this in another episode, but just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah.
When you delegate, you have to give direction and follow up on it. Otherwise, you are setting not only yourself, but that person and ultimately your company up to fail.
Well, I tell you what, we appreciate you checking out this episode, and we just want to leave you with the thought to marinate on is, what's your big vision? Who are you going to delegate to? And how are you going to follow up?
You can leave your comments, questions on our Facebook page, YouTube channel, email Clay directly, clay@makeyourlifeepic.com.